Long ago, we looked upon a foreboding sky. The memory of the star that threatened all burns eternal in our hearts.
Everyone and anyone who knows what materia is had been eagerly awaiting the beginning of March. After almost 10 years in development, fans were only 3 months away from the release of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. However, about an hour ago, the official Twitter for the FF7 Remake dev team announced that they would not be releasing Final Fantasy VII until April 10th. What's going on here? Why the delay? And is the delay justified? Today I'm going to look into all of that and more and talk about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Everything I talk about will contain information gathered from official sources, the official dev team interviews and tweets, as well as the official Twitter announcement that the dev team made recently.
You can have it for saving my life. You think he's a keeper?
Oh my god.
So first off, let's talk about Yoshinori Kitase's official Twitter statement. Kitase being the producer of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Here is what he said. We know that so many of you have been looking forward to the release of the Final Fantasy VII Remake and have been waiting patiently to experience what we have been working on. In order to ensure we deliver a game that is in line with our vision and the quality that our fans have been waiting for and deserve, we have decided to move the release date to April 10th, 2020. We are making this tough decision in order to give ourselves a few extra weeks to apply final polish to the game and to deliver you with the best possible experience. I, on behalf of the whole team, want to apologize to everyone, as I know this means waiting for the game just a little bit longer. Thank you for your patience and continued support. You have to know now that the game is delayed. There's nothing you can do about it. This, of course, is upsetting news. Getting my hands on Final Fantasy VII Remake in March rather than April would have been much better. And this news causes concern for me. They had 10 years to develop the game, and now, when it's finally about to release, suddenly they announce that the game's going to be delayed another month. Are they really putting finishing touches on the game, or is there some issue with the game that they overlooked and that they have to fix now? Is it something major that would take more than a month to fix? Maybe the game wasn't in its complete state after all. The video and subscribe to the channel. Trying to go for 10 likes on this video, so please help out, hit that like button. Recently a video surfaced that contained a full playthrough of the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. Mind you, this demo was not intended to be released as of yet, but a couple of things did grab our attention. The first thing was that the game had two playable modes, Classic Mode and Action Mode. Second, the demo was set in the opening part of the game, the train chase sequence. The existence of a playable demo obviously means that they have a product. The game is there. The consumer, however, wasn't meant to see the game yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see the official remake demo not being released at all and the Final Fantasy VII dev team just releasing the game in the absence of a demo.
Can you bear to see the planet suffer? Cloud.
So there is an official statement by Square Enix and the Final Fantasy VII dev team which tells us a lot about what the game will look and feel like. But a key thing to note there in the statements was that the developers said that the game will be huge content-wise. There will be a lot of content in this game. Here's what the developers said. Our goal with this project is to rebuild Final Fantasy VII for the new era. We are not making a straight 1:1 copy or a simple remaster of the game. It's a huge volume of work, and the data to reimagine this world, each game in the project, will have a volume of content comparable to a Final Fantasy VII standalone. The disc version of the first game is actually 2 Blu-ray disc sets. This approach will allow us to remake the original without having to scale back on everything players loved. What does that mean? When FF7 was originally released, obviously there was a lot of content. The game was huge. But now, where you would have seen text scrolling and doing dialogue, there are now voice actors doing that same dialogue. They're adding more details to the areas and locations you can visit. Combat mechanics and gameplay mechanics are more detailed. The world is more detailed. That also means that you will be spending more time on a particular sequence of the game. What do I mean by that? Well, say the Midgar scenario. Officially, that's now a standalone part of the game. That is the whole game, the Midgar scenario. After that, the game ends. This also means that the future content, the completion of the game, won't be in the form of DLC. It will be in the form of another standalone game. So the next game will tell another part of the story. That is the next part of the story. So the game itself will not only look modern, but it will feel like a reimagined version of the game. When the original was released, the developers said that they did not have access to cutscenes or close-ups in cutscenes or any other mechanics that allow so much immersion, but now that they do, they're going to focus on those and make a better version, a reimagining of the game as well. Moving on to gameplay, here's what the developers had to say about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. For gameplay, we are aiming to create a new take on classic concepts with an accessible evolution of the ATB system, giving you greater action with tactical control. The system we've created retains the strategic decisions of controlling multiple party members, allowing you to select from a wide range of abilities and spells. You can also let the AI control the party members. And finally, yes, we will still have materia. You can use it to tailor your playstyle and abilities. So now they're talking about the mechanics of the original Final Fantasy VII. Materia, the ATB fight system. Everything is present there. You can customize your character and playstyle through skills and spells. In battles, you can take control of a character whenever you want while the AI controls the other character. And if you're not a fan of the new combat system, you can just go back to classic mode. There's already proof of this being true because of the leaked demo footage, and there's even proof that the classic mode exists because it was a selectable option even in the demo.
Can't say this is quite what I had in mind when I asked for your help way back when.
Feels like we're flying high these days.
Now, more than ever.
He's a keeper, all right.
Yeah.
So let's do a quick roundup of everything that we have talked about. First off, you're going to be getting the game in chunks. The Midgar scenario will cost you the same amount it would cost you to buy a standalone game. Then the next scenario would also be a standalone, and it will cost you the same amount of money it would cost you to buy a regular game. Essentially, you're buying part of the game as a remake, as a standalone game, and not the entire game itself. I have very negative opinions about this. Why would you want to buy a game that is only part of a game for the full price of a game? The only way I see that being justified is if the content is actually there. For that, I will have to wait and see, I suppose. Secondly, you are getting enhanced versions of the gameplay mechanics and gameplay from the original game. You're getting more immersion because of the generation difference between the hardware. You're getting better controls and AI, and you always have the choice to go back to the classic mode if you prefer. Last but not least, you're getting dialogues and cutscenes instead of text floating in the bottom part of the screen. So how do you feel about the delay? Do you think it's good or is it bad? Do you think that there was some major mess up in the game that the developers are trying to fix now? Would you pay an additional $60 for the next part of the game, which is now a standalone and a different game? Or would you prefer that you would be able to play the entirety of the Final Fantasy VII Remake at launch? Drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Take care.